Well, sorry, I forgot to record this stuff, but the morning meeting has it anyway, so go watch the morning meeting. Okay, so this button right in here in the inspect tool is a responsive button. So if you click it, you can choose they have like a list of popular devices. So I like to code to iPhone 5 because I know I'm pretty much covering all my bases if I do iPhone 5. And then, to check later, you can say, okay, well, most people are on like a 6, 7, 8 plus at this point. What does that look like? You can kind of try a few. And so iPhone 5 is like it's 320. And then iPad is 768. You can also flip it on its side, so you can do this little flippy do. Landscape iPad is 1024, and then iPad Pro is 1024, and then landscape it's 1366. So that kind of gives you an idea of like pixel size. And then there's one just you can do responsive and just see what it's like. So this is 1542. And you can just shrink and stretch it to like have any pixel size that you want. So let's just stick this in iPhone 5. And the nice thing, so you have to keep the inspect tool open, but you can kind of shrink it down. And then you can like make it a larger percentage so you can kind of see better. So I'll just do 125. So first thing I want to do probably is like, some of these have that background color. I'm just going to do an H1 in here. You want to only have one H1 on your site. I always like to kind of get it out of the way. You want it to be unique, and then you can have as many H2s as you want, H3s, H4s. So yeah, H1 is generally like the name of the page, or a lot of times the name of the site, or sometimes if I have a logo, I'll put the image inside the H1. So it's telling screen readers, and it's telling Google, like search engines, any search engine, the structure of the page, and it's saying like the header 1 of this page is blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's make about and reserve a weird pink color so we can see it in the background. So I'm going to say dot about, comma, dot reserve is going to have a background color of something. Come on, give me the thing. You gave me a thing last time. All right, fine. We'll just make it pink. Pink is fine. Okay, so let's refresh. I wonder if I'm seeing if I save this. Okay, it does work. All right, so the default, the like Visual Studio Code refreshing the page also happens if you're in responsive mode. I just want to get the text away from the sides on mobile. I'm going, so these, they're on the section. And even though all these are in main, so I have like main, and then I have all these sections. If I tried to put padding on main, I would like lose that like color flush to the side. So if I do this, padding 20 pixels. Come on. I'm going to lose that. So I want the padding to be where the color is. So I'm going to make it be on every section. I want the same padding. And then while I'm at it, I want the header and also the nav. I have that nav up there, and also the footer to have this padding inside. Well, maybe I don't want them. Anyway, whatever, it's fine. There we go. So we got some padding. And then let's see. So I'm feeling pretty good. about mobile. I've already done, you know, let's pretend I've done my fonts and all that stuff. I put my images in. Things are fantastic. Let's go to the media query. And because I'm dyslexic, I must search for media query. So I'm going to do W3 media query. And I'm going to go to the W3 schools page for responsive web design. And it's going to give me this code. So I'm going to grab it and I'm going to paste it into the bottom of my style. So you always want your like main styles first and then add your media queries later. They give you, this is, when you see max instead of min, it means it's desktop first. So what this is saying is like all this stuff is for everything bigger than 600. And then if it's 600 or smaller, so if it's a maximum size of 600, make it light blue. But I actually want it to be, this is just, I'm going to use this as my tester, but I want this to be a minimum. So I want to say, if my page is a minimum width of 768 or larger, then make the background light blue. So let's check and make sure. So it is not 768 yet, but if I change it from iPhone 5 to iPad, it will be 768 and hooray, I know my media query is working. So now you can tell, okay, cool, it's not on iPhone, it's only on iPad. I don't want my background to be blue on 768, so I'm going to get rid of that. So let's now switch this over to 768 so we can kind of add some things here. iPad. So one thing I forgot to do is that I'm gonna have Flexbox on all of the sections. So main is gonna be where my grid goes. So I'm gonna add a class called grid-2. You can't have numbers be the first character of a class name. And so I've just gotten into the habit of calling my grids grid-something. And this is going to be a 2-column grid on desktop. So I just like to call them grid-2. So I'm going to add up here, I'm going to say, if you find a class called grid-2, display flex. Why the heck would I add a Flexbox on iPhone? I don't want it to display flex on iPhone. So here's my iPhone. It's like, that's horrible. Why would you do that? That's a terrible idea, Alana. But we can actually change the direction. So I can say flex direction. Instead of row, I always have to do this. I want column. So I want it to go up and down. And now it's flexing up and down. So it's as if I don't have Flexbox, but I still, there's a few things I can take advantage of with Flexbox. So, so there's that. Let's move to iPad. So it is inheriting that in this media query. So if I add a style here, it'll inherit it down here. So it's going to keep that flex direction column. And I'm actually like, we can try it here, but I don't think we want, so we'll do .grid-2. I don't have to say display flex because it's already getting inherited. I can say flex direction and I can override that value. So I can say flex direction row. And if I save that, I can decide if I like it or not. Oh, and then we want to do flex wrap. And then remember, all of these are a flex of they're all 50-50. So I'm gonna make one also in here. So inside grid-2, whoops, -2, make all my sections be a flex of 50%. Please, pretty please. Okay. So I don't know. It's actually okay. I might want it to stay a single column for a little bit longer. And I wanted to point out that this flex 50% won't work unless I have box sizing border box. So if I take this out, you can do a comment by selecting the code that you want to comment out, and then hit command on a command / on a Mac, or control / on a PC. And what the comment does is it makes the code not like visible to the browser anymore. So you can like test stuff out. And then, oh, it still is working. Okay, call me a liar. And then you can undo it by doing the same thing. So command / oh. You have to have it selected though. Command / okay, fine. Or command Z, or just delete them. Command shift. Okay, now I want to know. Command shift. No. Weird. Okay, moving on with my life. I think that's the second thing that I've been wrong about so far, and it's only 12:41. Okay, so moving along. So what if I don't want 2 columns here? Let's make another media query. So I'm just going to grab this one, copy that line, and make sure, see how there's like this curly bracket matches this one down here. You've got to make sure that you don't lose those. So indentation is really important. The good news about Visual Studio Code is it does it automatically. But if I paste this in, I've got to remember to add that closing one first. And then instead of 768, I'm going to do 1024. And if you ever forget these numbers, you can see them in here. Like if you just select through these, iPad's a good size, iPad Pro. And then beyond that, it kind of gets like to be what serves your design best. It's really like up to you, but those two are pretty good to go by. So I'm actually going to move this stuff down there because I don't want it to go to 2 columns until it gets to be 1024. So now I'm going to save that. And now I'm back in kind of my iPad view that doesn't have that column yet. And maybe in iPad, I just want to like add a little bit more space. So I can say for all those sections, right? Is that true? Yeah. Yep, section. For all the sections, I want to add more padding. So instead of doing padding 20, like I have here, I'm going to say padding 60. So that as the screen gets bigger, I get a little more breathing room. And so if this will load, come on, load. Okay, so I can pad things out. And then now if I change the size of the screen to, we'll just go to responsive. And then I'll just type in like 1220 or something, or 1440. Then it also gets that extra padding, which is nice. And then it grabs this stuff as well. So as long as my screen is 1024 or larger, then it'll add this stuff. The other thing I wanted to do was change the order. So there's a couple things I could do. I could change the, oh, that kind of worked out good. Okay, since this is like an odd number, it just made this one fill the screen, which is kind of nice, this last flex. So I could move the map out of this and then change the order so that it would be reserve a table first, and then drinks, and then menu, and then about. But actually, I just want to move reserve a table. So in Yeah, so that's interesting. I don't know if I would have, I could have probably put reserve a table first in the content. And then in desktop, change the order. But I'm just gonna keep it how it is and just move reserve a table. So I'm gonna say, if you are in mobile, and your name is reserve, then change your order to be -1. And that -1 basically means the first one. So hopefully this will refresh. And now I've got reserve a table at the top. I need to make it not have an order when I go to desktop. So I want to see, just because this is easy to try, I'm going to see if order 0 sets it back. Okay, cool. So I'm going to do order -1 to get that up at the top. And then I'm going to say, cool, once I go to 1024 or larger, I'm going to change the reserve class from order of -1 to 0, and that'll like set everything back to the way it was. Okay. So now I can like shrink this down, and I see reserve goes to the top. And then if I'm desktop, I can see that it goes down to the bottom. I'm going to warn you about Flexbox and order right now. So CSS Flexbox order property. It is weird, and I have not figured it out. And okay, so developer.mozilla CSS tricks. I'm tempted. Okay, I'll show you what Mozilla has. I'm tempted by the CSS tricks one because sometimes they have like better code. But there is this, so you can change the direction. You can say row reverse or column reverse. But there's also, if I scroll further down, order. You can have like order of like, so this one is saying the third child is first. And then also the fifth child is first. So there's 3 and 5. And then the first child is second, and the fourth and fifth child are third. That's great. I haven't been able to get this to work, honestly. Because if that was the case, I could say, let's do the desktop one. Okay, so I've got, so theoretically, I could say reserve about, what are the other ones? Drink. Menu. And map. All right, so let's do map and order. Map and reserve are 1, and then drink is 2, and menu is 4, and about is 3. Drink, reserve, map, about. It makes no sense to me. Drink, reserve. There's like no rhyme or reason. So I'm just warning you. It's weird, but -1 will always put the thing at the top. That's all I know. Okay, so that is the media query demo. I want to like be able to spend as much time as I can helping you with troubleshooting. But yeah, that's kind of like intro to media queries. And so for your designs, make sure you do comps for both desktop and mobile so that you have a plan for both. Right. And then I highly recommend getting all your content in. So when you're redesigning these sites, you should be able to like steal content. Like if I'm doing go to just like randomly, I have no idea what this website is like. I mean, I do, but I don't remember. Okay, so they do have a mobile view. So yeah, consider you know, how you're going to do your nav. I really don't recommend doing 2-column. I just 1 column for mobile is kind of it's just easier on the brain. And then I've got some like starter code for the hamburger nav. But yeah, but steal the content. Like if you're going to do if you're going to redesign the site or whatever, copy paste the content into your comps. And then when you're working from your comps to your HTML, you can just like copy paste the text and then export your images. And it's all right there. So yep, highly recommend final content in your comps. Okay, and then before we go to doing some work, I want to show you tiny PNG. So Photoshop has the ability to compress files, but their compression algorithms are they're called lossy. So they like there's different compression algorithms, right? There's like when you go to like shrink something, you can choose like nearest neighbor and bicubic and linear. And what it's doing is it's like taking a sample of and it's deciding if something is closer, like close enough to a color, it'll change those pixels to be the same color. So if you really like, if you super duper compress something, it gets like a kind of posterized feeling to it, right? So that's what you'd call like lossy, and it doesn't shrink files as much as other options. So PNG, the way PNG works is that it actually has it keeps an index of like all the colors in your file. So it'll say like, you know, whatever pixel X32 and Y24 is like this color. And so what this application does is it takes that data and it kind of like reorganizes it so that it's a better organized map of the coloring. And so you can kind of think of like, I don't know if you've ever seen like Norton disk utility where it like disk optimization. Let me see if I can find an image. You'll have like all these different colors and they represent like files and folders and stuff. And then Norton like reorganizes everything so that they're in better organized chunks, and it makes your hard drive faster and more, yeah, like there's like disk fragmentation. This is kind of like an image of disk fragmentation. Open image in a new tab. You guys know what I'm talking about? Have you guys ever? Yeah, so like it basically, if red, is there a map here? So maybe like blue is files and like light red is folders and dark red is apps or something, and it like represents data for all that stuff. What Norton does is it goes and like puts all the reds together and all the blues together and all the dark reds together. And it makes things faster and smaller. It like saves size. And that's kind of what Tiny PNG is doing. It's reorganizing that data. So it's like, oh, there is this color red at like blah, 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 blah. Instead of saying this color red, this color blue, this color blue, this color red, it like organizes it better. So that said, it makes compression pretty awesome because you can't tell the difference because it's in the file and not in the image itself that it's compressing. So if I upload, let's go just like upload a screenshot. Screenshot. Let's, I have no idea what any of these are. We'll just do this one, which I think is Red Star Tavern. Okay, so it started out as 1.2 megabytes, but it's 353 kilobytes when it's done. And you can't tell the difference. So it's pretty massive. So if I open this up, I tried to do a different one, but okay, downloads. And then if you do just one file at a time, you can just like download them. I'll show you in Tiny after this loads. Come on. Okay. So yeah, if I like zoom in here really big, we'll just go giant. And then this one really big. It looks exactly the same. So it's really hard to tell. And if I go down to the coffee, it's pixelated just the same. So yeah, it like really doesn't change the visuals of the file at all, but it makes the file size way smaller, which makes your pages load way, way faster. So, oh, you can see a little bit in the toast. There's like a slight shifting going on. So anyway, and then, so it's free for up to, I think, 20 PNGs a day. It may, well, let's see, if I'm not signed in, file incognito. I know it's 20 images a day. It may only be PNGs. I have a pro account. So let's see, drop your PNG or JPEG. Okay, up to 20 images. So you can shrink up to 20 a day. And if you need more, you can just ask me and I can do it because I have like a limited, it's like $24 a year or something, but you guys don't need to spend $24 a year. But yeah, anyway, this shit is the bomb, yo. And then I'll just show you a site I'm really excited about, and then we'll go do stuff. Yes, you. And I do have stuff up here for week 5. So I just thought this site was so awesome. So it's a thing I'm going to, it's the 28th today. Yeah, tomorrow and Friday. And I just thought their site was awesome. And check out this this collage. This is so cool. And then on the bottom of the page, there's another awesome collage. And then I went and checked out the design. So if you ever see like a website that you like, check the bottom to see if it was done by an agency or a designer. And yeah, keep them on your radar. So let's see, I wanted to look at, there's like a cool thing on the, I think it's on channel. Okay, not channel. I think it was events. Okay, so they've got this cool blob. And if you see stuff like this, investigate, try to figure out what's making it. So if I right click on this and I inspect it, there's a couple things that I can do. Let me close this responsive stuff. Come on, toggle off. Off. Okay. I'm going to bring this back up. And right click. Okay, so blob. I'll go to like the main. So it's called blob. And then if you click on these three dots on the right side, and you go to more tools and you go to animations, you can see if it's like an animation. So it's down here. So I got to pull this up. So in the animations, you can actually hit pause. And so when I hit pause, it actually doesn't modify this. If that doesn't modify, then it means it's not a CSS animation. It's probably done in JavaScript. So that's like my first clue with this guy. And then, so let's close this out. So if it's JavaScript, it's probably going to be at the bottom, like a library that's been loaded to the bottom of the page right above the closing body tag. And if it's not there, it'll be in the header. So that's kind of where I go, like, okay, so I've determined it's not an animation. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom. And then let's see, Google. And then here, there's a something called tweenmax.min.js. This seems kind of tweeny. And so then if I look around, I look at all the others. So placeholders, I don't know what that's for. It doesn't sound right. So tweenmax sounds pretty good. This JavaScript looks like their own file probably because it's called allyship. So then I would do a search for tweenmax. So tweenmax. And then JS demo just came up as the first search. So let's look at that. So tweenmax, it looks like it is a product by Green Socks. And then, so I'll kind of poke around in here. And what I want to get to is like starter code, like example code immediately. So these are in CodePen. So they've got these like embedded code pens. This one is like a stagger. Let's see if there's any more. Let's see. Let's go to Showcase because maybe they have more CodePen. Whoa, that's like a bunch of websites. I want more like small samples. Maybe getting started. And so I just kind of poke around and look for the smallest amount of code necessary. Green sock, GSAP. What does GSAP stand for? Easing, tweening basics. That sounds good. Okay, so now I'm on tweening basics and there's this CodePen that looks like it just has some basics. So if I click on this, let's take a look at this. Okay, so small amount of code. So this is like basically, let's see. So I have classes for box, and box is just display block. And then this, it looks like, so GSAP, I guess, is the name of their library. And then they've got like a .2, which looks like it changes the opacity to 0.3 for this header. GSAP2 basics. And then box orange. So box looks like it has a duration of 2. And then it looks like it probably moves it to 300 because it's if I run, it starts, come on, at the left, and looks like it moves to 300, and then green, which is this bottom green box, it has an additional transition that goes, it rotates 360 degrees and it scales it to 50%, so 0.5. And then that has a duration of 3 seconds. Okay, so they're shrinking and rotating. And so like with pretty small amount of code, I can kind of see how this library works. There's nothing in the class, the CSS at all. Just 3 boxes. And so once I get that, this is like a good test to make sure that you are importing the library and getting it to work. So that would be my first step, is like, if I copy and paste this into my own file and I go get their library, does that work? One thing is that when you're looking at CodePen, if you click on settings, it should tell you if there's other libraries in this. So if I click on JavaScript, GSAP latest beta. So that sounds like something that I need. So I would import that. But it also, plugins. Yeah, so I'd have to like look at this more, but it seems like maybe tween max has to be at, oh look, oh cool. So if you keep scrolling, there's like other cool stuff happening. Scaling. But yeah, at least this gets me on the path of like trying to figure out. And that was all just because I viewed, I inspected and then just like found some library and then tried to find documentation. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking. So my plan today, it's 1 o'clock. We started an hour ago. I have to like check in with my brain. So I want it to be a working day. If you're done with project 1, get going on project 2. Go find a business or service or something that you want to do a redesign on. Did I put let me make sure that I put project 2 up there. Did I? And if you're working on project 1, I'm here for help. So if you want to, does anybody have like burning issues, especially GitHub desktop stuff? Like we should definitely have that out of the way. But yeah, if you want to meet, I'm just going to kind of let you all go off. You can stay here and work. If there's a bunch of you, I can break you out into smaller groups, like 4 or 5, so you can help each other with issues. Yeah, but it's just basically a work day. If you want to add media queries to your project 1 before starting on project 2, that would be good. But yeah, yes. I'm going to make sure that project 2 has the thing. No, it is empty. I'm going to put it up there right now. Basecamp. By this point of the term, you should feel like you might hate code, but you're starting to be able to sort of get it to do what you want, more or less, but it's driving you crazy. But you're making, like, you're actually like producing stuff and feeling like, okay, I could see if I did this a bunch that it would get easier. That would probably be like a good place to be now. Sounds about right. Nice. And yeah, and just like I don't know, whatever, pandemic, life is crazy. Just try to make as much progress as you can. If you're not done with project 1 on Monday, I want you to get started on project 2. And just, try not to get behind, because then at the end, it'll, everything comes crashing down and you have to do everything at once. So, but yeah, I definitely want us to switch gears, even if you have stuff still left on project 1. Okay, so let's take like a 10-minute break and come back at 1:20. I will put up the project 2 description so that you can like have that. And yeah, and if you want to meet, then come back in 10 minutes. Cool. Okay, Noelle. And if you just want to work, then like work on your own, then just get lost. And if you want to work here, then stay here or come back at whatever, 1:20. Cool. So I've got Noelle down. And Ashlyn. And okay. Abigail. And Javier. Okay. Cool. Okay. All right. I'll see you in 10 minutes. Okay, I'm back. All right. Noel, let's see. I'll just make a breakout room and then we can.
Yeah.
Assign. Okay. Oh no, I forgot to like stop the recording again. Keep breakouts open. Stop.